Hello, hello. Sorry, I'm cleaning my glasses off so that I'll be able to see before this. Let me just get to the comment section. Good evening, everyone. So today I wanted to talk about this topic. We're going to be talking about being discerning with the type of man you marry, especially if he was raised by a single mom or a married single mom, because those are out here too, okay? So if somebody could let me know in the chat if the sound is okay. I see a couple of people in here. The numbers keep going up and down, so sometimes it's not 100% accurate. But I would love to know if my sound is correct because I haven't put it on my other laptop. So y'all, I had said that I had quite a few topics that I had put away in queue, and this was one of them. I felt like it was very important for me to do it and help the people. Okay, so we're going to be talking about dealing with men that have been raised by, hey Mika, we are going to be talking about men that have been, turn down the music. Thank you for that. I appreciate you so much. Sometimes they have the music on and they hear the music more than me. Let me get to that. Thank y'all. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah, Mika, I'm going to try to help the people, So y'all, listen, I wanted to do this one because I just feel like that sometimes we as women, when we're dating, when we're looking for marriage, when we're trying to get out here and get married, we literally are not looking for the right things. I sometimes I get embarrassed to say this, but I was married twice. I know I look so young, right? And I was married for long times for both of them. I only know how to be a wife. I really don't know how to be out here single in this game. I only know how to be provided and protected for. I don't know what this thing is out here. But anywho, enough about me. But I say this to say that I have learned and grown and evolved, and I don't place blame on anybody. I feel like there is equal accountability anytime something fails, right? Sometimes it's just your continuation of allowing things to go on. It could be a lot of different things, but both people always have a part to play, okay? Y'all see I got my glasses on. I mean business today. Hey, Joanna, long time no see, sis. I'm so glad to see you here. So we're going to be talking about discerning who you date before you marry, especially the men with the single moms and or the single married mom, okay? So I know that, like I said, I've been married, right? I've been married twice, and I've dated certain type of men here and there in between, right? And I realized that there are a distinct difference between men that grew up with a father versus men that did not, okay? It is very, 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 very differently, all right? So let's not get me wrong. This is not about judgment. I do not get up here to judge anybody. I don't get up here to talk bad about anybody. Like I said, I just feel like we all ain't ish sometimes. Like girls, the women got stuff to work on, the men got stuff to work on. It's about balance. It's about being each other's mirror. We all got to shift in order for this thing to shift. Otherwise, we're just going to all go to hell in a handbasket together. I don't understand, but it just seems bad out here to me now. Okay. So this isn't about judgment. It's about awareness and the tendencies that we might be overlooking during the dating process. And honestly, overlooking what you may have to endure futuristically. As women, we got to learn to be a lot more discerning and intuitive as it relates to dating and dealing with men. So a lot of things I don't even say is their fault, because if we weren't intuitive enough or saw the signs that God showed us early on in the beginning that we decided to overlook because we like, it's a red flag, but it's really not red. It's kind of orange. It's kind of pink. We make a whole bunch of excuses for why we're going to continue to stay in this thing, right? Oh, hey, Tiff. All right. So my first husband, I'm just going to tell you a story. We were married very young, by the way. I got married at 19, 20, 21, 22. He was probably about 23 years old. Okay. He was mainly raised by his mother. Makima, hey girl, I'm so glad my little crew is here. I'm loving seeing this. Okay. So my husband, I was 19 when I got married, my first marriage. Very heavy into church, very heavy into my spirituality, knew what I wanted to be and do at a young age. I always knew I wanted to help couples. That's what my parents did. I kind of followed after them. Got married young, just felt like we're gonna make it because why wouldn't we, right? Well, anyway, my husband had a stepfather, but he wasn't really a father figure. Very, very, very sweet man, might I add, but not their father. He was just kind of a male counterpart for his mother. So I noticed that early on that like the father was just there. He didn't, well, the stepfather was just there. He didn't do much. He didn't say much. He stayed in the room watching the game. He laid up with the mother, and that was pretty much it. Okay. Like, and this is not to like get on them or say anything bad, but that's just the dynamic of what their relationship was. There were two men in the house, my husband and his brother, and then the stepfather and the mother. So the father, exactly, Johanna, just not hands on, just like, and then I think by the time the mom married him, they were already in high school. That always happens. Like, here's the thing, sidebar, y'all. When you are a man and you get into a woman's life and those boys are already in high school, oh, the job, it's already too late. It is very rare that you're going to be able to shift those boys unless you have a very unique way of getting them on your page. Okay. Because by then, young men have already kind of gotten their way. They do have about the age of 25 where their frontal cortex develops. You do kind of have until about that time, but you got to find a way to get in to be able to influence them at that age. And sometimes they're just already shut down. Okay. So even as a young woman, I noticed some things. The first thing that I noticed with my husband, I have my notes over here. I got my iPad over here. So just FYI, that's what I'm looking at. The first thing I noticed was that he was more emotionally deregulated than I was. Very much more emotionally deregulated. I grew up with both parents. My house was very balanced. Like, my mom was a mom. My dad was a very active dad. Even though he worked a lot, he was very, very active in our lives. And it caused balance. What we don't realize is that a balanced household with a mom and a dad, and then both doing their part, creates balanced children. I am realizing that so much now. I am not a crash out. I don't jump off the ledge. I don't jump out of windows. When I say that, y'all know I mean jump to conclusions, right? I listen to people before I just kind of go off. These are things that were instilled by a mom and a dad, just having both totally different counterparts. My mom and dad were literally like night and day. The total opposite in polarity. That is what my brother, my sister, and I received growing up. So the one thing I noticed was that he was very emotionally deregulated. When I talk about emotionally deregulated, I'm talking about very emotional in general. Like, well, why would you? Always raising his voice, always heightened, always over the top. I mean, we could be in the car. I say something he don't like. He start driving the car off fast and swerving. Whoa, sir, I like my life. Okay. Why are you acting like this? This is insane. And what would make him more mad is because I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, I have always been the type of person that stops you in your track and be like, this is not productive. Even at a young age, like, what are you doing? Why are you acting like this? What you driving faster is not going to change the story. It's not going to change what we're talking about. All you're doing is scaring me and our kids in the back. What are you doing? So, okay, I have questions, sir. Well, y'all put the stuff in the comments. Y'all know I'll address it because, I'll tell my life. Y'all know I'm going to tell it, right? So he would get emotional. He would raise his voice all the time, even for small things. But here's the thing. He wasn't abusive at all. Very romantic, a good man to me. He just was whiny, in my opinion, just real whiny. Like, well, we gotta go. Well, we gotta do it this way. What? Well, if we do it like this, like, sir, just talk. Like, be regular. Like, put some bass in your voice. Come on, stop this. He loved on me. He was super duper romantic, but also could get very angry and very emotional really quickly. Another thing, he was financially irresponsible. That is something that I noticed very early on. And he expected me to handle everything. When I tell you everything, I mean everything. The bills, the rent, everything that came out. I did the budget. So he would get paid and I had to literally figure everything out. Like, okay, this money is going to be allotted to this. This money is going to be allotted to this. And you get $20 dick to work for the week for your lunch. Okay. So I'm just like, I'm literally doing everything. I'm taking care of the kids. I'm putting them in the bed before 7. I am making sure the house is spotless clean. I'm talking about on the floor, scrubbing baseboards and stuff like that. I'm talking about them kids washed, dressed, and bathed before he got home from work and taking care of all the bills. The only thing he had to do was work and come home. That's it. And then he had a nerve to cheat on me. That's crazy. Anyway, let me not let my bags pop out, okay, on this show. But yeah, so that is because that's ultimately why we divorced. However, that was what the relationship looked like. And I realized, I said, oh, he saw his mama do this. His mama did everything for him. I had good credit, right? So I was able to get all of the credit cards in my name. Do you know he called me selfish? And was like, you selfish, why would you put my name on the card? So I'm like, I didn't have a good feeling about it. Ladies, follow your intuition. Didn't have the greatest feeling about it. My mom kind of, was like, I wouldn't do it if I was you. The reason that everything has to be in your name now is because he's already messed up his credit, which has shown that he hasn't grown enough to do so. Y'all got on my credit cards, spent all the credit cards up, okay? Never paid the bill. I would give him the money to pay the bill. I find all the credit cards in the visor of his car. None of them paid, y'all. When I tell y'all, listen, okay? He would put responsibilities to the side, lie to me about buying certain things. Like, so basically, you know how women say they get Amazon packages and they shop and they put stuff in the trunk? That's what he used to do. Like, he would literally buy stuff, lie about buying it, say he wanted. Like, one time my parents caught him at Staples buying a Palm Pilot. Back then, Palm Pilots was like what iPads are now, right? It was when the AI was just coming out. This was like 1999. He bought himself a Palm Pilot from Staples. It cost almost $600. He told me that he wanted at work. My parents was at TJ Maxx because my mom was always shopping and saw him coming out of Staples with it. Then my mom told me to ask him about it. He told me he wanted at work for a raffle or some type of reward. Bought it at Staples. So very lacked a lot of responsibility, okay? He was okay with me taking care of the house, okay with me taking care of everything, with no help from him except for really taking out the trash, because y'all know I don't do that. So he would just take the trash out. That was like his thing. He did not teach me anything. He did not show me anything. He did not evolve me in any way, shape, or form. There was nothing that I learned from him spiritually. There was nothing that I took from him except for what not to do. Okay. Everything is a teacher, and I learned what not to do. I found myself being a more spiritually evolved person, always explaining principles to him. So let's table that. So fast forward, I have my father, right? And I have brothers and cousins all raised by men. They were raised by their fathers. And when I mean raised, I mean active fathers within the household, where the fathers held their son to the fire. The one thing I noticed was a very distinct difference, okay? So we're going to be talking about growing up with a single mom, but also a single married mom, because this is how you end up being a single married mom, by marrying one of these guys. So this is why we have to be very, 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 very careful, okay? So main difference I noticed in the men was their behaviors and their demeanors, okay? So I'm going to leave this live with this. A man has to have a present father in order to exhibit his masculine traits in a relationship. And if not a present father, a present masculine figure, a pastor, a mentor, a leader, someone in his life that he listens to and holds him accountable, somebody that holds him to the fire, and someone that they can learn from. Because I'm going to tell you this, and I know I'm going to hold y'all hand when I say this: women cannot hold men accountable. I'm just leave that there, okay? Only other men can hold men accountable. There is no such thing as a woman holding a man accountable. Look it up. Look for it. It's not there. One, because it's out of order. Two, men do not listen to women in that way because it's not the natural order of things. This is why men need other men in their life that they respect. Otherwise, they're going to go rogue. Women are held accountable socially. We're held accountable by our friends. We're held accountable by our brunches. We'll be like, girl, you took your daughter out of dance. Why you do that? That was teaching her something. Now she out here all fast. We'll hold each other accountable and say things to each other, right? Men are held accountable systematically. They cannot be held accountable by mothers and sisters and daughters and wives or girlfriends. They have to be accountable by another man. And if another man is not holding them accountable, the system holds them accountable. That's how it works. It's unfortunate. That's just what it is. Okay. So without other men do things without consequence. It's just what it is. You know, the only problem they'll have is what life dishes them back out, which is what karma does to them. They can dish out in life. We got to understand, as women, we have more grace because we're under a covering all the time. So when we do things, life doesn't hit us as hard as it will hit a man who does things. So karma does hit them faster. Karma, dharma, the law of seed time and harvest, sowing and reaping, whatever you want to call it, it always comes back to them, and it comes back to them faster. Okay, exactly. They think we're just nagging anyway. We need more rites of passage programs. Sports is cooked garbage now. And you got it. Because sports did used to be what gave young men principles and things like that. And now the coaches is soft. Like, ain't no bass in their voice. But you want to know why the coaches are soft? Soft because they allow women on the field. Don't yell at my son. Don't tell him why you ain't got my son on the field when your son missed 4 practices, ma'am. And this is what we need to teach your son. Your son was crying on the field when he didn't get the ball. That's why he got to sit out. But no, they're allowing the women on the field now to say, to coddle the boys. And now sports is soft. So yes, you got it. Okay. So many times when a man has not witnessed the role of a man in a woman's life, and I'm talking about even if a man had a father, he needs to still see that father loving even another woman, not necessarily his mom. But if he is going to watch his dad be in a relationship, he still needs to watch his dad be in another functional relationship. But I told my son, if you don't listen on the outside, you'll have to listen on the inside. The choice is yours. Choose right. Okay? Because a CO will be telling them what to do, telling them when to go to the bathroom, telling them when they can eat. Stop playing. That is 100% facts. So the son still has to see the father in another woman's life, being a man, being a father, holding people accountable. He still has to see it. So if he does not see this, he's going to be lost. Okay. He may unconsciously remain in the role of a son and never step into the role of a husband, because all he knows subconsciously as a role as it relates to a woman is being a son. A son in a woman's life does not equate to a man in a woman's life. Okay. And some men never evolve out of sonship. That's not even a word. I made it up. Okay. He's not going to understand the leading role of the masculine in the household. He's going to expect his wife to lead everything. Oh no, you got it. You got it. He's going to expect her to take care of everything while he sits and watches the game. He may go to work. He may not. And we've allowed this, by the way. They wouldn't be able to do this if we didn't listen, whatever. He sits home. He enjoys the ride. The kids is taken care of. Everything taken care of. He get to show up, go to work, sit down on the couch, watch his game, read his paper, or play video games, or want to be a rapper. I don't know. It's bad out here now. Okay. He gets to enjoy his me time outside of any regard for her. That is what it used to be back in the day. You know, the guy come home, he read the paper, wife just stressed, and then want to hunch on top of her at the end of the night and sweat all on top of her after she did all this work. Just call me Miss Celia at this point, okay? Because what the hell? Like, listen, got me out here. I'm gonna be good tonight, y'all. I'm gonna be good, all right? So he might think it's normal for you as a wife to work manage the home, stay overwhelmed, because that's all he ever saw growing up. These are the men you got to be beware of, y'all. Y'all got to be careful when you see these men out here, okay? When you meet a man, I'm going to tell y'all, this is the first way you see him. When you meet a man and the first thing he says is, my mom was a strong black woman, run as fast as you can. Put on every track shoe that you got in the house and get the hell out of Dodge, okay? When he said, yeah, my mom was a strong black woman. She took care of me and my siblings, everything by herself. She cooked, she cleaned, she made sure me and my siblings was straight. My mom did everything. Because he thinks that's a badge of honor, and it ain't. You got to run, and you got to run fast. Unless you hear a man that speaks of change within that, like, so the man got to be like, you know what? My mom was strong and she took care of everything. And although I respect my mama for what she did, I would never want to see my wife go through that. I would never want to see the woman I'm with struggle in that way. So I would do something different. I would be there to help. I would never walk away. You want to hear some level of shifting, evolution in that. But if he uses that his mom was a strong black woman as a badge of honor, you need to run and run fast, okay? Because it's only going to come out negative for you, all right? He's going to inadvertently place you in the same role by mistake. He's going to be like, listen, that's what women do. That's the role, okay? That's what we do here. The wives do this, the husbands do this. Now, granted, y'all know gender roles is not a thing that I really talk about, because I feel like what happens in a household is between the people that run the household. So that part is up to you. But when a man says that he saw his mama do everything and took care of the siblings, she was straight, and he uses that as strong and strength, absolutely not. Yeah, see, I had a cousin that refused to help their partner with transporting their child to daycare, and she had an hour commute to work. Just sad. Like, refusing, you don't want to help. You don't want to step in. You don't want to, I'm going to get into that though. I'm going to get into that. So you don't want him to inadvertently place you in the same role. Think about it. If he never saw the role growing up, right? He never saw what it was. Never. He grew up in a house with his mama, her telling him what to do, doing everything for him, allowing him to come in and out as he pleased, because he was a boy. After a while, boys don't listen to you. That's why you need a man in the house. Because after a while, boys, they get bigger than you. They get taller than you. They get stronger than you. And your voice is not fearful to them anymore. So after a while, they be like, yeah, all right, ma, here you go. They're not the same anymore. Once they hit that 14, 16, 17, you need a man that's going to lay down some law at that point. It doesn't matter who it is either. It could be father, grandfather, uncle, stepfather. Some masculine energy has to be there to hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta see that absolutely he's gonna expect that from you, but you're not his mother. Your role is to be his partner. Exactly. We got it. Y'all got it. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down, okay? So honestly, if he never saw the man's role, how would he know? So a lot of men, they want to come into your situation and help. So this is just a sidebar. But once again, that's out of order. So they'll be like, yeah, I'll come in your space. I'll move in with you and I'll come help you. That's out of order. A man is not supposed to help. We are the help. And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm going to say it again. We as women, and we've created this because we've gotten so busy wanting to have companionship that we're willing to let a man come in and be willing to give us we'll take whatever he's willing to give us. That's not how it's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the leading energy of the house. It's supposed to fall on him. We are the help. But instead, we've taken on everything and then let them help. That's out of order. And then we wonder why we're overwhelmed. All right. We have been conditioned like that for so long that we're happy if all he do is offer a little bit of help. He take the kids to school. Oh my God, you did so much. He washed a dish. Oh my God, thank you. He put a little bit toward the bill. We so appreciative. That's not how it's supposed to go. The burden should be on him, and we're supposed to relieve some of the burden off of him. It's not supposed to be where all the burden is on us and they relieve the burden off of us. That is so completely wrong. And we've been living like this for decades, y'all. It's insane. All right. Nowadays, we got men moving in with women. That's why y'all know Kehlani's song "Folded," right? You know, your clothes, I had them folded. I love the song. It eats down. However, that's still out of order because if you moved in with him, or y'all got a place together, you can't fold no clothes and kick him out. That's weird. We have songs that say we have songs that say, meet me at the door, I'll have your clothes folded when you get home. The reason we're saying that is because obviously we're the leading energy in the home. We're able to fold his stuff and say, here go your stuff. You could go now because I don't need you. That is not how we're supposed to do things. We are a man is never supposed to move into a woman's situation. I'm gonna tell you why. One, women are protective of their cubs. That is our mission here. It is God, man, woman, children. Man is over the woman, women are over the children. So we are the direct protectors of the children. When you move a man into your situation, it's out of order because he has just entered the lioness's den and you control that den. So it's never supposed to go like that. Either you move in with him, and that's after marriage, by the way. Never mind. That's just a totally another sidebar. Not moving in with you before we're married. That's crazy. Like, no. Or y'all get a place together. Both of y'all are on the place. That way nobody can kick nobody out. There's legalities in place. There's things there is systematic structure that allows things to not just, you can't just have his clothes folded and say, get out. Okay. It's insane. All right. So we're not supposed to be shouldering all these burdens and then a guy come in and help a little bit. So now this brings us to another point. He may desire provision and protection from you. Again, out of order. The guy is supposed to be the provider and the protector. What are we doing? If I'm paying the bills and you putting something on it, I'm taking the kids and you ain't even giving them rides to school and not, I'm going to Old Navy. I'm buying all the school clothes. I'm doing everything. I'm paying all the bills and you helping like, yeah, I got a couple hundred I could give you. I'm certain what, listen, if you got a couple hundred you could give me, I'm gonna get a job at Amazon and they could give me a couple hundred. No, thank you. Okay. Because you're not about to be just sitting here running your butt up in the couch. You get up, the couch don't even lift up no more because that's where your butt was sitting the whole time. And because you watch your game and read your paper and you're not contributing to the household. You are a big grown man boy. Ill. And then y'all know I be getting off. So let me not get off because y'all know I'll go off and go sick. The 50-50 is a setup for failure. Absolutely right. Lived it, never again. Not sure why a man would want a slave. Exactly. But again, the balance, the mirrors, we have all created this situation that we're in. And the only way that we can get out is by both parties shifting again. Okay. So he might desire provision and protection from you, right? He might want you to manage all of his affairs, but not in a leadership assistant way. Okay. More like you doing it or you nagging him to do it. All right. So this would be in order. Now, let me show you a little difference. So let's say your husband's like, honey, do you mind calling this particular company and handling this for me? I have a busy schedule today and I may not get around to it. That's in order. Okay. If you go to him and be like, babe, did you call, that company and handle the business? And I saw it on the table. It looks like you never got around to it. And he like, oh, nah, you think you would just get to that for me? I mean, I can't get to it. Meanwhile, I ain't gonna have time. Meanwhile, he's doing nothing, sitting on the couch, nothing else on his plate except for work or video games. You see the difference? One is he's on top of it. He knows that it was his responsibility and he knows what he was supposed to do and he delegated it to you versus you nagging him and telling him that something needed to be done that was his responsibility in the first place. A major, major, major difference. But as women, we can't discern that there's a difference. We'll penalize the guy that has it in his mind and is on top of it and says, babe, you think you can help me? He got me always calling. Girl, that's your job. You're the help me. Get over it. That's why you're here. But then you have the other woman that is out here nagging her husband to do the right thing, and she's fine with it. We're out here sending all type of mixed signals. That's why men don't know what to do no more. That's why they just out here confused. Like, they just don't get it. So the first one says he's on top of it. You're the alley-oop. You're the, hey, I shot it up and boom, I dunked it. Okay. That's how it's supposed to go. That is assistance. That is in order. That is what we're supposed to do. The other one is you was on top of it and you telling him what to do. And all of this because he was never shown. All of this because he doesn't know that it's his role to carry. He doesn't even know. It was him and his mama. Him, his mom, and his siblings. Okay. Another thing that may happen is he may react emotionally like his mama when he's triggered. So what we don't understand is, I have a good sis, her name is Natima. She said it was either caught or taught, right? It's one thing. Your father is the active teacher in the home. So your mom is the child's first teacher because we send them out into the world. But the father is the one that creates the structure, the order, the protection, and he's the one that instills the values, okay? So he's the one, he instills the values for the household. The woman takes the values and pecks it to the kids, right? So it's, you either learn it because your parent taught it, or you learned it because that's what you watched and that's what you saw. So it's either caught or taught, right? So it's either active or inactive instruction. A man with a father in the home is a lot more emotionally regulated than a man that grew up with only his mother. And although this man may not adopt feminine tendencies per se, he may take on the feminine energetic dynamics. So he might not be girly, like, you know how people say, oh, he act feminine or whatever. No, he might not be girly, but he has taken on the feminine energetic dynamics. We have distinct different energies as male and women. It was made that way by design. It's supposed to be complementary, not competitive. We are supposed to fit together like a hand in a glove, yin and yang, opposite and equal, polarity, magnetic poles, positive and negative poles. All right. But we be so busy trying to be both of each other that it's insane. Men are sassy, women are masculine. I'm just so confused as what's going on out here. Okay. So a man with a father in the home is a lot more emotionally regulated than a man who grew up with only his mom. All right. So he has on the feminine energetic dynamics. So he may be emotionally led instead of leading with logic. A lot of times we as women, we're emotionally led. We are the feelers in the community. We feel everything. We feel good vibes, bad vibes. We're intuitive. That's how God made us. We flow like water. And we are mirrors to what is around us. Where men are supposed to be the more fixed, structured energy. So if he takes on his mom's energetic dynamics, he's going to be more emotional and flowy and even sometimes emotional in general. Okay. That last man cursed me out. Child told me to unalive myself after I caught him in a lie. Oh my God. Not telling me to go be with Jesus. That's crazy. See, this is what I mean. The sass, it comes out. So he doesn't lead with logic. He may be free flowing instead of structured and disciplined. He may raise his voice in anger like a woman, not realizing the mere energy of a man alone does not have to do this. I hope y'all know this, that men are not supposed to yell. That's like not a thing. They don't have to. That's why God created them with bass in their voice, because then they don't have to yell, right? So a lot of men, they will, or they shut down. Yes. The mother wound. Yes. That is a different video that I'm going to do. The mommy wound. Absolutely. Because, just a sidebar to talk about that for a second. There is a certain way that I raise my sons, right? So my sons are older. I have a 26-year-old and a 21-year-old. And although people say they're raised, they're not, okay? They're not. If there's something I notice that they could be corrected, I'm going to teach them. And so, but the one thing I don't do is yell in their face. I don't disrespect them. I don't feel like because I'm their mother, I get to talk to them any kind of way, because I don't want to train them that women are supposed to do that. So I speak to them with respect. And when they speak to me disrespectfully, I say, listen, here's the thing. You're not going to disrespect me like that. I remember one time me and my son got into a big argument. My sister was like, I'm on my way. My stepson had to get involved. It was bad because my son was crashing out. And I was like, I literally felt like I was about to have to hit him with something like a bottle or something to stop him, because at that point, when a man is a man and he's that angry, that's dangerous. Okay. And he was not angry with me. He was angry with his brother. But I was trying to get myself in the middle, which I shouldn't have, because I had no business getting in the middle of two men going at it. And I did. So that was actually my bad, but ended up getting like real bad, y'all. Okay. But yeah, so the mom wound is a very, very deep wound. And I am going to do a video about that, because that mother wound goes very, very, very deeply. Okay. So back to this, the energy of a man does not have to go. So a lot of men, you'll hear them say like, oh, you being masculine because you yelling. No, 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 no. Women, that's a dark feminine trait. It's still feminine. It's just dark femininity. It's like an ocean roaring. It happens when a woman does not feel heard, or she feels threatened or endangered by the man that is supposed to protect and provide for her. That is where yelling comes in at. But there's a lot of guys that feel like they got to meet you at that same energy. And I personally think that that's weird, because it's backwards. All right. So a man usually does not have to yell or raise his voice, because the bass in his voice alone is enough for everyone to know he means business. So usually when a man's words slow down and his tone deepens, that is more than enough to let everybody know that he means business, whether it's a children or a wife. You don't got to get all heightened to get in my face and you don't have to do all that. And when a man does do that, it is very clear to me that he is feminine and he is taking on his mom's energetic conflict dynamics. That is what he's taking on. All right. Kings don't yell. They enforce. Men don't have to yell. They enforce a rule, a structure, a principle, a consequence, but it does not have to be a yell. You understand what I'm saying? A raising of the voice. All right. So let me give an example. My father has never yelled at me. Y'all, y'all always see me out with my father. We be out, me and my sister, we playing pool, or my father has never yelled at us a day in his life. Never. I got disciplined. I got punished. I got spanked. But he has never in his life gotten over a certain octave when he speaks to us. All right. And I realized my mother was the yeller, but we didn't even pay her no mind. Oh yeah, this is for the woman that need to figure this out, like the guys that she with. So yes, I hear what you're saying. No, this is not the class for men tonight. This is the class for women to understand what they about to deal with when they get married, not what men are supposed to do. Because y'all know I don't talk to men, right? I don't tell men what they're supposed to do. I only speak to women, and I hold women accountable, and I tell them what to watch out for as it relates to men. I don't really tell men what they're supposed to be doing, because I feel like other men are supposed to do that for other men. The only time I'll do that, like I am going to have my dad on the podcast, y'all. I want him to come up so bad, but he be acting like he can't hear that good sometimes, and I don't got time for that. So I learned a valuable lesson when I was younger as it related to masculinity, with men dealing with one another. I have been observant since I was a child, right? Growing up, realizing my father never yelled, my mother was the yeller, because we was never listening to her. And she wasn't scary though in her yelling. Like it was like, Mom, come on, calm down, like chill out, like you wildin'. Like people don't respect emotionality. Like they respect structure. They respect consequence. They don't respect people getting irate and jumping off ledges and acting crazy and crashing out. People don't respect that. That's not what happens. So I learned a valuable lesson one night in masculinity, right? So My brother snuck out of the house. And me and my brother, I used to always like cover for him. That was like our thing growing up. So I told my mom that he was asleep and he was in bed, but he was about to break his curfew and get back in mad late. My mother happened to be up in the kitchen making a snack when he came in the side door trying to sneak in the house. My mother got so irate because she was like, "Where was you? I thought you was in the bed. You scared me to death." Da, 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 da. So she's in his face. When I tell you in his face, I mean in his face. Or at some point, she tries to slap him. And my brother grabbed her hand because now he like 17, like 16. He grabs her hand. And then she like took her other hand, bow, slapped him across the face. And my brother did like that, like, stop, right? Y'all, I told my brother, I said, calm down. You need to go to bed. My brother goes to bed. Y'all, my father came home the next day from work because he worked overnight. My mother called him and told him what happened. My father talked to my brother and he said, let me make sure I remember. He said, don't you ever raise your hand to my wife again. And that's when I realized that this was a different way that he was dealing with him. At that point, he wasn't talking to him like a father to a son. He wasn't like, oh, don't disrespect your mama. Don't talk to your mama like that. He dealt with him like a man would deal with another man. And I remember seeing my brother's face, just looking down, going, okay, like, I got it. Like, all right. My father was not playing. When I tell you, when he looked him dead in his eye and said, don't you ever raise your hand to my wife again, that means he put him in a different category because he didn't say your mother. He looked at it like, whoa, this is mine right here. And you just raised your hand to what's mine. You're going to have to deal with me next time. And that is the only time I heard my father raise his voice, because he didn't even have to raise his voice at my brother ever, because his voice was so deep that it was just enough to keep us in line, enough to keep everything enforced. So it was in that moment that I realized how men related to one another and how a man has to hold another man accountable, because my mom's job was done at that point. Okay. There comes a time where your sons can only get their initiation to manhood by another man. It cannot come from the mother. It can't come from you explaining things to them. Like even with my son. So I am so grateful because femininity and womanhood can't initiate a man. And I'm grateful for my father, because my children were with my father a lot growing up, because my parents used to watch my kids. So my sons are more aligned with my dad than they are with their dad and even their stepfather. And I'm so grateful for that. If they're not initiated into manhood by another man, it inevitably takes them much longer to do it because they have to get it through a mentor. But to this day, my father doesn't even yell. He doesn't even yell at his grandkids. My sons have never heard my father raise his voice. And so my 26-year-old never raises his voice. He never yells, ever, ever. Men don't have to. My brother told me on the phone one day that he's so grateful of my father being in the home, because he was explaining to me, he's like, I don't care what other people think about me. I don't have to yell in my household. I don't have to do it, because I grew up with a dad. I grew up with a father who taught me how to think for myself. He taught me principles. He taught me structure. He taught me discipline. And so now as a husband, he's like that. Now as a father, he's like that. It goes down the line. And so what can we do to salute this? What is the solution for this? I don't know. However, There needs to be more masculine mentors out there. There needs to be more men in leadership positions out here. There needs to be more men that other men can go to or women can go um, to hold their sons accountable. But at the same time, we got to take accountability too, because we cannot just keep having children by random guys. Like that part is on us. We got to stop just popping up pregnant by people. And sometimes even in a marriage, you don't see, remember in my last video, I said you never see the direct correlation of the value of your parenting until someone else tries to love them. And just because our kids didn't die before they hit 18 doesn't mean we were a good parent. We don't understand the damage that has been done to our children until someone directly tries to love them. It comes out in their next relationship. That's where the trauma comes out. That's where the damage comes out. That's where the mommy and daddy wounds come out at. They come out and once they enter into a relationship, okay? Listen, I don't know what we can do about this, but what I will tell you is that if you're talking to a man and because some men, they grew up with irate, attitudey mothers, they've taken on those tendencies. But the thing is you won't notice it until they're angry, because their anger style is their mother's. Not strategic like their father. So you won't even notice it until you're already in a relationship with him and he gets angry and you're like, whoa, you acting kind of like how I would act. Like, no, you need to calm that down. Understandably, in conflict, one or both parties may raise their voice because it's a triggered response to not feeling heard. But if this is his default setting, meaning like this is what he always resorts to as his disagreement style, something is a little bit off. Something's off about that man. Okay. So we need to find and implement strong male and masculine mentorship in our society now. We need to bring back coaches. We need to bring back mentors. We need to bring these things back, because if a guy does not have an active father, he's going to align with his mother. It's inevitable. He's not going to be able to switch the switch off just when he feels like it. He's going to have a default setting that aligns with feminine energy. It's going to align with the flowing of water in the ocean. He's not going to have that structure and leadership and discipline that he is supposed to have, that came from watching and being taught by and being learned by a man that was in the home. All right. So this isn't about judgment, ladies. It's not about judgment. It's about wisdom. It is about understanding who you are with. And this is why we just got to have a better barometer system when we're choosing the guys that we're dating. Because like I said, it's bad out here. And guys are really putting the representative forward, right? And they think because they're good in business, or they could wear a suit, or they dress nice, or they're good looking, or they go to the gym, that makes them masculine. But masculinity is an energy. It is not in how you present yourself to the world. So as women, we have to be more intuitive. We have to be more discerning as to who we're choosing. And we need to stop just having kids by randoms. We need to stop having kids because the guy is cute and because we've lusted after them, or because we fell in love or like or lust with them. We need to stop doing that. We need to stop trapping guys, trying to keep them in our lives for forever, because then we have the kid and then the guy is nowhere to be found. And now we stuck holding the bag, literally. We're stuck teaching the sons. Like I always said, I was like, oh my God, if I have a child and I don't have a father and there's no father, I hope it's a girl, because that's the only person that I can teach. I can teach my sons, like, don't get me wrong, I teach them, but they still need masculine figures. And it's crazy because my own sons, they have actually said to me and told me that they understand, they see that their father's feminine tendencies, and They do the opposite just because they see how it looks and what it's done, and they don't want to end up like that. So, but again, it's because they've also had fathers, uncles, cousins in their life, male figures that have shown them responsible ways and different ways of handling things. All right. It does not matter how much that man love you. It don't matter how good he look. It doesn't matter what gym he go to. You need to find out how he was raised. You need to find out if he had a masculine figure in the home, or, like I said, even if the father left and he sees the father in another home, his stepmom's home, even then they have a better shot. But if that guy is just gone and they were raised by their mom and they say, oh, my mom was a strong Black woman, and my mom did it all, and my mom, she made it happen, I am telling you what you're about to go through. You do not want to have to jump those hurdles in your relationship, because you're going to end up leaving them. You're going to end up leaving just like I did. Like, after a while, it gets to be so overwhelming, you can't do it anymore. You just can't shoulder any more of that burden. You just can't. So y'all, if a man was raised by his mother, it is going to affect the longevity of your relationship if that father was not there and not active and not teaching him something. Okay? It's never going to work. All right? So we got to figure out how we going to discern this. The way we're going to discern this is by just asking the questions, ladies. Remember, I told y'all on y'all dates, you're supposed to allow that man to do most of the talking. You're not supposed to just be da da da, and I like to do this, and I like to do this, and this is how much I make, and this is where I work, and I got this. So busy trying to brag and compete with him. What you need to be finding out is stuff about him. Find out his last relationship, how he handles things, how many kids he's got, what type of father he is, how active he is in those kids' lives. You need to be finding out how he was raised, who he was raised by, and the principles that he stands on. You need to find out if you have fathers, uncles, grandparents in the house, and if he listened to them. These are the questions y'all need to be delving a little bit deeper. Stop being like, what do you work? What do you do? What are your long-term and short-term goals? Like, leave these stupid movies and these stupid things by the wayside and ask the right questions. Because then what's going to happen is you're going to find out too late. You're going to be locked in, already got these kids, already overwhelmed, already dealing with it. And now you are raising a grown man boy as your husband. He's not a husband. He is inadvertently an old grown son that you just have in the house helping out a little bit, just like my grown sons. My grown sons are not the men of this house. They put a little something on it. They help. They might be like, Mom, extending you off. Okay, you gonna pay that? And the rest of the time, they're not on top of everything. It's me. It's my home. So you don't want to get stuck with a man boy that you just got in the house helping a little bit. It's not what you want. Okay? So I'm going to stop there because it's 7:58. And I said I'm only going to do an hour from now on. If that, 45 minutes to an hour. But y'all, ladies, my sisters, let's get more discerning. Let's help each other out here. Because, this single game is not easy. The married game is not easy. None of it's easy because we all got work to do. So at least we can all do our parts, okay? Thank you so much for attending, ladies. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Next week, I forgot what it's going to be about, but it's already written out. I've already got it done. I'm going to just let y'all know as it comes, all right? I will talk to y'all later. Have an amazing night. Bye.